Welcome back to the channel, you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. As many of you already know, I do run a couple other companies, so I do this in my free time, and I haven't had much of that lately. But today, I wanted to talk about HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, and how these can benefit you. Yes, you, even if you haven't ever thought about one. Let's talk about them and talk about the pros and the cons. A HELOC can essentially give you quick access to a large sum of money that's backed by the equity in your home. With interest rates being as low as they are right now, it's a perfect time to look into getting a HELOC. You can get a HELOC with little to no money down. I know that when I'm looking at getting one, it's no money down. They pay for all the expenses, and the interest rates are incredibly low right now. Home equity lines of credit were introduced in the early 2000s. Banks were pushing these in a huge way. And now these originally were specifically intended to improve the value of your home, do remodels, take some money out of the equity you had in your home and reinvest it back into your home. Now HELOCs you can actually use in many different ways. You can use them to invest here and there. They're essentially a line of credit just backed by the equity in your home. For example, if you had a $300,000 house and now it's increased to the value of a $400,000 house, you can take out 80, sometimes 85% of that money. So if your home is now worth $400,000, 80% of that would be $320,000. Say you've paid down your mortgage another $30,000 with your down payment and paying it down, you now have $50,000 of equity that you can pull out of your home and use as a line of credit just as you would a credit card, but with much lower interest rates. One big disadvantage to a HELOC is that there is a variable interest rate. But for example, right now you can get a HELOC down in the 3% range, anywhere from 3 to 4% interest rate. That being said, if interest rates go up in the future, as well, your interest rate on your HELOC is going to increase in the future. It's not a huge deal if your interest rate goes up in the future, as long as it's following what the market is doing. You want to pay attention to how much interest they're adding on to what the market already is. When I applied, it was whatever the market is plus 0%. So that's a fairly good rate, much better than a 15 to 20, 25% interest rate I'd be paying with a credit card. HELOCs are a wonderful way to gain quick access to money for investing, for buying more real estate, for starting a business possibly. Now I am very conservative. I would be very cautious in using this money, and I would only use the money if I know I'm going to make the money back quickly and be able to pay it back, because that money is due. There are different terms for different HELOCs. Typically it's about a 10-year term that you need to pay it back in. Some are longer, some are shorter. You want to pay attention to that as well. If you aren't able to pay back your HELOC in the amount of time given, or if you start missing payments, that is an issue, because obviously it's backed by your home. So if the bank wanted to, if you aren't making your payments, they can put that against your home and foreclose on your home, or basically make you sell your home so that they can get the equity out of it and get their loan repaid back to them. You do want to be very careful, if it is your only home or your primary home, to not invest it in something that's risky and risks you losing your home. Unless you're comfortable with that, then it's okay. Ask questions. Ask all the questions you can think of to your bank, whoever you're looking to lend from. Great places to start for a HELOC are credit unions. They typically have the best rates, best deals out there on HELOCs. You can go to the company that currently holds your loan and see if they would offer one, or another bank. The reason why a HELOC is great right now is because most homes have gone up anywhere from around 15 to 30, 35% in value over just the last year. So if you've owned a home over the last year, you have anywhere from 15 to 30, 35% value that you've gained in that home just for buying that home over a year ago. For example, I purchased a home a little over a year and a half ago, and my home has gone up over 50% in value. That means if my home was worth $400,000, it's now worth over $600,000, which is absolutely insane and amazing.
I was editing this video and realized I wanted to say a couple more things. One is, have you ever been in a situation where you needed money and just couldn't quite get access to that money. Maybe somebody in your family was super sick or in the hospital, or you had a big bill coming up and you needed to have money to feed your family or something like that. A home equity line of credit is a perfect situation for something like this, where you don't have to have those high interest rates like a credit card, but you can have a line of credit to receive that money and use that money for a short term and get a lower interest rate on it and pay it back as soon as you want or can. Now, the reason I have been looking into a home equity line of credit is because I'm super interested in having that in case I do have an emergency, like a healthcare emergency or something like that come up, or if I ever needed that money to invest in more real estate. If I'm not gonna move into that house first and it be my primary residence, obviously I need to put 20% down, which on $400,000 is $80,000, which is a ton of money to wait and save up. Whereas I can just use a HELOC, I can renovate the home, and then I could do a cash out refinance and get most of that money back out anyway, pay off the HELOC, and move on with renting that piece of real estate. So it's a wonderful opportunity to have access to large sums of money for very little interest, and then be able to pay that money back in a shorter amount of time. You can take up to 10, sometimes 20 years to pay back these HELOCs. But again, it's a wonderful opportunity to have access to a large sum of money in a very simple way.
That's why I think it's a great time for many people to look at a HELOC. I'm not saying a HELOC's for everyone. I'm not saying it's the perfect situation. You want to be careful. It is a line of credit that can be asked to be paid back. The interest rate can change. Be very careful with any sort of line of credit that includes credit cards, whatever you may have. Just be smart with them. Only spend within your means. Make sure if you're investing it into an investment that you are going to be able to pay that money back in the amount of time that the bank wants it paid back. Otherwise, you run into big issues of needing to consolidate that debt or find different ways to pay it off, and that's when people start losing assets, and that's when you lose your wealth, and that is not what you want. You want to increase your wealth and find every single way possible to do so, and this is a great way to increase your wealth if you can take that money, invest it, get a huge return on it, and pay that money back quickly so that you aren't paying interest on it for 10, 20 years. Unless the interest rate stays around 3 to 4%, it's essentially free money right now with how high inflation is. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please share it on social media and other platforms so many other people can hear about it and know what's going on in the world and see how they too can benefit from looking into a HELOC here in the future. If you have any more questions, ask them down in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them. If you're interested in getting a free stock, there's a link down below. You can get free stocks there on Webull or Robinhood. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.